I wanted to talk about some of the points that I made in the film. I really wanted to strike home the word home, and I think somebody mentioned that. I'm not sure. I think somebody did about home. Some of us don't have the access to move and pick up and move quite as freely as others do. And I found, and like I said before, I'm not from Harlem, somewhere I've lived for the past 18 years, but I found people, Harlem is as if their baby. They protect it, they carry it on their shoulders. So when I was researching and speaking with people, I wanted to make sure they knew where I was coming from. I always met them face to face, but they wanted to know where I was coming from on the film, and they treated Harlem as if it was theirs. And it was their baby. You're not going to take it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to make sure it grows up. I'm going to make sure it's healthy. It's ours. And I found I hadn't seen that anywhere else where I lived. And they're very protective of where you have to envision people have been there generations, your grandmother, and your grandfather, your neighbors, you know, and you can't pick up and move quite freely as maybe somebody younger who has more means. And so I wanted to explore what home is and what community means and why people are so passionate, as you saw in the town hall meeting. I think it's also important to, when we're moving these days, I think, as I'm going to go back to access, to move and pick up and move, I think it's important to understand where you live, because there's certain traditions or certain nuances that different neighborhoods have, and it's important to know when you move in that certain maybe Sundays, maybe there's drummers, maybe there's certain aspects that have been going on for decades that you need to be aware of or learn about when you're moving and you're treading lightly in communities. It's important also to think about how you live in a community. Some people just pay the rent, get outside the door, don't speak to anyone. Do you speak to your neighbors? Are you invested? Do you care? Are you renting? Do you want to buy? How do you treat your neighborhood? Are you invested? And I think it's important as some of you all are students, you're moving into apartments, you may graduate, you're thinking about where you're living, but people take on how you treat your neighborhood and how you want to participate and how you want to be an active member. I think it's important to think about, are you invested? Do you care? Maybe you don't. Maybe you're just about, this is close to my work, I come in and out, I don't care about my neighbors. Harlem is a place that we look after each other. If you want somebody to look out after you, you need to look out after them, you need to speak. There's certain traditions that people have in their neighborhoods, and I think we've gotten away from that. I'm not sure what happened, but there's a tradition that came up on basics, which is greetings, which we know, I know, greetings go a long way. Greetings show a character who you are. But those greetings show how much you care about others. And those little nuances really show your character and how you're participating in a neighborhood. I don't want to sit here and talk, but I want to kind of wrap this about Newark. I'm sure this film brought you right back to home and where you all have lived. Some of you are probably longtime members. So I wanted to hear your statements about what did the film bring up to you in your thoughts as you were watching the film about where you live, what's going on in your communities. Yes, sir.
Same as the lady right here was saying, as far as about Valley Fair. I'm close to 50. I'm a couple of months from 50. Newark has always been my home. So you get this changing. And I won't lie, I grew up as far as doing the riots. I was actually born in a riot. And it was depressing, but as you said before, you had people that talked to each other. I mean, Mr. Stevenson would actually watch other people's kids. And if Lewis got in trouble, his mother knew when she got home from work. Then when we got away from that, and what I see now in Newark, I see a lot of multicultural that I didn't actually see before. I mean, not to be funny, you would see a few whites that actually work downtown. You would see majority of black. You never went to bout out in the Ironbound section, Portuguese, but you had Puerto Ricans. And that was the only ethnic groups you actually knew. far as seeing Indians, Pakistanians, people from Dominican Republic. All these countries just coming in. Right now is almost like a wow. I didn't know, and then all you see things popping up. And when I see popping up, you got a Starbucks in Newark. I would never in my life would think Starbucks would be in Newark, even though it used to be a chock full of nuts right on Broad and Market. That's how old I not no GameStop, Woolworth, Bambergers, the Haynes building. I actually seen them things actually generating economy until everybody started moving out. And people leaving abandoned buildings. Almost same thing as New York. I would say New York, because even in the Bronx, where owners just left their buildings and let them deteriorate. I mean, same thing in Newark. As far as over here in North Newark and up in more or less everywhere, but Central Avenue, all around there, houses, abandoned buildings. You will go down and like, okay, abandoned building, wouldn't even care about it. But when I see the building of it, I'm gonna repeat what I said before. I do see a corporate sanitization coming in too.
I thought it was important when you spoke about you said commercialism. One thing I always, when I watch it again, I see Takima say 125th Street was just, we got dressed up on Sundays, we walked down, and the pride that she talks about on those days in 125th. And if you talk now, I love 125th because you always run into people. Obviously, the stores, I understand, people used to come to 125th for something. Still, the vendors are there. But I don't, the same stores there's a reason why you went to 125th. I don't need to go to 125th to go to Old Navy. I can go do that anywhere else. But there's, I think that's a sentiment around the U.S. about the commercial debt, the dollar. Big business. And I think a woman spoke earlier about we're putting your money where you got to back your dollar. Those businesses are only going to stay if you support them. There are new black businesses that are popping up, and there's some that have left. But I think we always forget the economic power that we have in our pockets. We shop all day. But if you ask where we shop, no one wants to really admit where we put our dollars.